Last week, we announced that we were the first delivery platform to be certified for delivery of HTTP dynamic streaming. So that was a big deal for us to be the first content delivery platform to be certified by Adobe for playback for that new standard. So what that means for the industry is that Adobe have rolled out this new standard called HTTP dynamic streaming. And what that is basically is the introduction of a new container called F4F. So if you look at how content is published today for Flash, for Flash video, it's typically in one of three containers. It's FLV, F4V, and MP4. And now you have this fourth container called F4F, which Akamai is the first certified platform for that new container.
So let's talk about your role in these, all the new devices. I've spoken to some publishers who say they're creating specific feeds for up to 50 different devices. How does that work, and how are you responding to that demand?
Absolutely, it's a great point. So you're absolutely correct. What we're seeing in the industry is just many more connected devices that content providers and content owners want to get their content out to. At the end of the day, that presents a challenge for the content owner. For a new device or a new format or even a new standard that's released, it would require the content owner to prepare their content in a special way to reach those devices. So for example, the new container that I mentioned from Adobe, that new F4F container, for a customer or a content provider to adopt that new standard, they would be required to repackage all of their existing Flash content. And what we're doing at Akamai with a feature called in the network packaging is we'll allow a content provider or an existing customer to send us their existing Flash content, and we'll actually do the packaging or the conversion of that source video content to the new F4F container. So we're eliminating, if you like, the workflow burden that would otherwise fall on the content owner to get to that new standard.
Yeah, let's just talk briefly about the demands for content delivery with all this HD and also the advent of TV everywhere. How are you guys scaling, and what's going on?
So from an HD perspective, what we've certainly seen over the past 4 to 5 years in particular is this incremental increase in the bit rates that content providers are actually delivering. So if you look at 4 or 5 years ago, what was considered kind of innovative back then were encode rates of 350 to 500 kilobits per second. You look at today where we are with live and on-demand video, you see encode rates for on-demand video, true high-definition video, 1080, 10 megabits per second. And for live events, we have customers that are encoding at 720p, up to 3.5 megabits per second. So where we are today compared to where we were 4 to 5 years ago is a very different environment. And what's driving that in part are two things. One is the consumer expectation. So they're comparing more and more the experience that they're getting on television to online. So they're looking for uninterrupted playback, full screen experience. They're looking for interactive features like DVR, multi-camera angle switching. So that line of comparison, if you like, between television and online is becoming grayer and grayer. The expectations are the same.